Hello everyone, this is video forum number 9, gender equity and Latin America. So I'll be answering the questions to this video, and the questions basically based on 3 articles and 1 video that I found. The articles are called, first one, why we need gender equity now. It was written by Katika Roy and given by Forbes. Second one is Inter-American Development Bank, Inter-American Development Bank. That's the poster. Study reveals high gender inequity in companies in Latin America and the Caribbean. It doesn't have an author, but it was written in August 2021. The other article is called The Path Toward Gender Equality in Latin America for Fair Planet and according to Helen Nemitz on March 2023. So it's very recent. And the video is called 3 Things Men Can Do to Promote Gender Equity from the Tech Channel and according to James Briggs. Is very recent as well, but I don't have the date. So the questions were, if we I have learned from the readings, if we had achieved that equity and equality, equity in Latin America and Costa Rica, and the step that Costa Rica has taken to get to that equity. So as for the first question, I think that with what I have seen, it's in progress, not completely done. There is no full equity and equality because they come together. So if there is not full equity, then it's not going to be full quality with women, basically, with in this gender gap. And that's something that is shown in all of the articles and the video that I saw. In one of the articles is mentioned that it's going to take around 170 years to achieve um, this gender equity, and I think it's going to take maybe even more, or maybe even less, hopefully less. But right now our situation, even though it is great, it could be improved in many companies, not only in Latin America and the Caribbean, but also in the US and a lot of other parts of the world. So about Latin America and Costa Rica, what I found in the articles was that here the situation is not that great. I mean, in one of the articles, only 50% of women were owners of the biggest companies of the regions, and basically also in those articles it said that even though women were were a big part of the population that is being educated in universities and college and prepared for the professional life, they are not getting the jobs. And the reason, it may vary. It may be because of gender bias, that companies tend to contract or to hire men, just because I think men are better. And honestly, it it is not always the case. I mean, taking as an example, in our class, there is a lot of women, and I see them that they are very um, compatible. They're very, very capable, not compatible, capable of doing many things. When they're speaking, when they're expressing themselves, they are very, very capable of communicating, and also very capable of working in certain areas. It might be working together among themselves, doing teamwork. So I don't see why companies would hire a man just because he's a man if there is a woman that can do pretty much the same as the man. I mean, one of the articles mentioned that if there was only a woman and the rest of the people that were going to the job, I don't recall how it was called, but basically, if you had an interview and there were many men and only one woman, it was very likely that the women get the job. So I don't know why, if they have the same opportunities. Well, I know because in the in the text they say that because of gender bias, and also because sometimes the women just left because of how the treat they are given in their environment, in their workforce environment, because sometimes also the company don't have what they need, their necessities, and that's why they tend to live um, this professional life. And that's something that shouldn't be, because if we want to achieve this equity, companies should reach for that. um, I also learned that, well, at least here in Costa Rica, we are not that bad in that situation of giving, well, a fair treatment to women, uh, because in one of the articles they mentioned that, well, in Central America it's pretty bad, the situation in Latin America and the Caribbean, it is pretty bad. uh, Going from Brazil, that only at 6% of women have important important uh, let's say jobs or important influence in the workforce, in the business. There are other countries like Chile that they have a 56 50 57%. And in the same article it mentioned that here in Costa Rica is around 44%. So we're not doing a bad job, but also it could be still improved to get or even surpass that 50%, because it is needed. I mean, that's only a number, but it is really meaningful and needed for women. And I think that's something that has helped us a lot here, is that we have taken women's right very seriously since, well, I mean, since I have memory, women have had like the same treatment here, but that wasn't the case in the past, and it just have a few decades existing. So thankfully, we have turned for the better, and women are getting more treatment and a better treatment and the attention they need, and yeah, the fair treatment that is being given to them. Of course, it is still need improvement in some areas, but at least I mean, in the university, for example, there is a pregnancy room, and a lactancy, I think it's called. I don't know what's the name in English, but where women that are well, where women that are pregnant, they can, well, not pregnant, with the child, they can go and do that, feed their offspring. So yeah, I think we have been doing a pretty job here, and the fact that we have been giving more opportunities to women, and that there are more women in the workforce and the labor force. It's been very substantial for us to increase that equity, um, because otherwise we will be like in Brazil, that the situation there is very bad, honestly. And in the article is even mentioned a case of a woman that was a victim of domestic violence, and that's still an issue even in here in Costa Rica. Domestic violence and other kind of violences, even given the job and others, or in public spaces. So yeah, there are still things to improve, but thankfully things are going for the better, and hopefully they get better in the future. So that was my video, and I hope you understood and liked it. So that's it. Thank you.